We're recapping Thursday Night Football next on Fantasy Football Today in 5. Welcome to FFT in 5. I'm Chris Towers. That's Adam Azer. And I don't know. What do you? It was the Bears and Panthers. No, but neither team had more than 295 yards of offense. The Panthers only just barely got to 200. Deontay Foreman was the only player on either side with more than 58 yards. It was exactly as bad a game as we expected the Bears and Panthers to be. And I guess the question I have to start off with, Adam, is do you see any reason for optimism on either side of this game? Can you give me one thing you can point to here to be optimistic about the rest of the season?
Yeah, he was standing on the sideline. It was Justin Fields.
Yeah. I mean, DJ Moore caught 5 passes and got 9 targets. The problem is there's just nothing downfield with Tyson Bagent.
No, in fact, even when guys are wide open downfield, there's nothing downfield with Tyson Bagent. We saw him just kind of miss some open players, and I don't want to take a shot on him because he played well. I shot at him. He played well enough. He played well enough to win. He didn't turn it over, and good for him. Deontay Foreman obviously complicates things because Khalil Herbert will be back next week most likely, and Foreman played well enough. 21 carries, 80 yards, and a touchdown. He started in I think about 44% of leagues. So if you started him, you did a nice job. He also had 2 catches. So that's going to be a messy backfield, I think. It might be a terrible backfield for fantasy because it might be a 3-way split. We'll see how it looks. And, look, I think Moore and Kmet have a chance to really finish strong with Justin Fields back. So I think there's the reason for optimism. And I do it felt like Bryce Young went like 2 straight quarters without making one good pass in this game. I don't know. Nothing.
There were some alarmingly bad passes from Bryce Young. I mean, look, obviously the situation's not great. He has very little pass-catching talent around him. The offensive line is a disaster. But, yeah, I mean, we're more than halfway through his rookie season. He really hasn't given us even flashes, really. Do you think – I mean, Adam Thielen had another underwhelming game, 6 catches on 10 targets, 42 yards. Nobody else had more than 3 catches on this team. Is there any hope for anyone on this Panthers offense?
Well, Thielen, I mean, it's getting a little nerve-wracking now, right? Like, you're kind of waiting for this to happen, and it's 2 bad games in a row for him. I think I'm probably going to give him one more. But other than that, no, there's no hope this year for anyone. And in terms of dynasty, I just remember how the Dolphins were sort of mocked for taking Tua over Herbert, which still looks like a bad decision. But at least we've got 2 really good NFL quarterbacks. It's too early to close the book on Bryce Young. Don't panic yet. They have to get a run game. They have to give him some talent. But I will say I don't like when a quarterback's not playing well and then you start to make all these excuses for him. I feel like that is the playbook for every disappointing quarterback, Obviously, Daniel Jones comes to mind, but all of them. Oh, he's had 5 different coordinators.
Kenny Pickett,
years, right? And this and that. And the offensive line stinks. And this and that. It's like, all right, if the quarterback's not playing well, it's probably the quarterback. But it's still too early. I'm not panicking on Bryce Young. I mean, I'd probably be buying in Dynasty right now.
The Panthers running backs. Does Chuba Hubbard have any starting appeal? RB3 moving forward?
He could always. Yeah, he usually gets like 15 carries. So a guy like that could always get in the end zone like he did against the Dolphins. But you do not want to go into your week thinking, oh, I'm excited to start Chuba Hubbard.
All right, well, there's really not much more to talk about from this game. So I'm just going to ask you some questions about other things besides. How was your day? No. How are you looking at the Bengals wide receivers with T. Higgins not expected to play? Jamar Chase was upgraded to a limited participant in practice Thursday. Thinking Jamar Chase is going to play, but either way, where are you ranking Tyler Boyd for this week?
Yeah, not that high, probably in the 30s.
Hasn't topped 40 yards in either of the last 2 games he's played without Higgins.
And more than that, last year he had a 4-game audition without Jamar Chase, which is a much bigger deal than without T. Higgins, and he was really bad.
Yep.
So he just hasn't been hasn't been much of anything for the last 2 seasons, really, except for basically what DJ Moore has been giving is like 10 points. But it's definitely a boost. And also Jamar Chase was saying something about how he could be a decoy. So he doesn't want to be. but it's about getting a win or whatever. So Jamar Chase is going to play if he plays it, certainly at less than 100%. So I think the bigger question for me is how do I feel about Joe Burrow? And I think, I don't think I would go so far as benching him for Brock Purdy. I might bench him for Dak Prescott or something like that, but I'm nervous about Burrow. Let's see how Chase looks in practice, how much he practices on Friday, but it'd be a bigger downgrade for Burrow than it would be a boost for Thielen.
All right, one more question before we get going. Kenneth Walker returned to practice on Thursday. He missed Wednesdays with a chest injury. Been a little rocky for him the last couple of weeks. He was someone that, through the first 7 weeks of the season, we were talking about Kenneth Walker as a potential top 5 running back. And, he's been dealing with a calf injury, now this chest thing. Where are you looking at him for week 10?
Yeah, I think he's pretty much a must-start guy. But if he doesn't come through here, it changes everything. And this is his last stand in terms of the must-start appeal. He practiced in full, so I assume he's healthy, and I think he's going to have a much better game script than he had each of the last 2 weeks, and a chance to score a touchdown for sure. And hopefully he gets back on track. So I consider him a must start.
Yeah, he's a top 20 running back for me. That was when we weren't sure if he was going to play. I think he'll probably settle in as a high end RB2. Like if I had him and James Conner, that'd be a legitimately tough decision. I think I would lean Connor if he's cleared to play, but that's the range that you're looking at, I think. All right, and that's going to do it for FFT and 5. We'll see you tomorrow.